Hello everyone and welcome back to another very nice game from round 1 of the AirThings Masters 2022. It's Magnus Carlsen versus Vladislav Artemiev and it's quite an enjoyable game, so let's dive straight into it. Magnus with the white pieces opens with g3. So here he's saying that he wants to just play chess. He's not interested in a theoretical debate or anything. It's the first round. Let's see how everyone is doing. So here we have knight to f6, bishop to g2 and d5 now by Artemiev, knight to f3 and the g6. We have castles, bishop to g7, and now c4, striking against black's very strong central pawn. We have d captures on c4, accepting this pawn, and now Magnus goes for knight to a3. He's ready to recapture with knight captures on c4. We have castles, and now knight captures on c4. We have c5 now, and here there are a couple of games with d3. d4 is also a known move, knight f to e5 is a known move, but the move Magnus plays b3 is a new move, so now already as of move 8 we have a completely new game, saying that you don't have any useful discoveries here, not a lot of good jumps for the knight, so you don't have to really worry about this. So here Artemiev just continues developing, knight to c6 and the bishop to b2, Magnus fianchettos the other bishop as well, and now we have bishop to e6. For the moment hindering the development of the e-pawn, but you don't want to push it anywhere just yet. So here we have rook to c1, a continuing development, and rook to c8. We have d3 by Magnus and b6 now. Queen to d2 and now queen to d7. Black also develops the queen, connects the rooks. We have rook f to d1 and now rook f to d8. Going after bishop to h3 right now would be maybe a little bit too soon, as knight f to e5 could be very annoying, or even knight c to e5. The other knight also can attack the queen. Let's say captures. You can play queen e6, but still, if you don't know what's happening, maybe you don't want to spend time on it, as it is a rapid game. So here Artemiev just continues developing, rook f to d8, and now Magnus goes for this very nice jump, knight f to e5, going after the queen, captures on e5, and queen to d6. And now Magnus shows us the importance of always pushing that b pawn, and he plays b4. And what's the idea behind this pawn push? It seems like you're just giving up a pawn. But if black accepts this, then it could be all over very quickly. For example, pawn captures here. Now Magnus plays knight c6 and now attacks this rook, this pawn, and let's say black defends the a7 pawn, just bishop to e5, and black's queen is trapped. So there are all sorts of tricky ideas in the position. So instead, after b4, we have knight to d7. Artemiev figures that there's something suspicious happening here, so we want to trade pieces now. Knight captures on d7, bishop captures on b2, queen captures bishop on b2, bishop captures on d7, and now b captures on c5. This is why the b4 pawn was the b4 push was very strong, because now after rook captures on c5, rook captures, we have queen captures, and now we have a very strong d pawn here. The bishop is very nicely placed, and the rook can come to c1. But well, this is all very nice. It's not all that much. Here Magnus goes for c1. He grabs the open c file for himself, but after queen d6, there's not much you can do about rook to c8. So you will not be able to keep control of the open c file. So here Magnus tries h4. Now comes rook to c8. Artemiev just trades off a pair of rooks. We have rook captures, bishop captures, and now the material is completely equal. Both players have a light square bishop, and now it seems like it's a draw, or rather you have to play an equal endgame against Magnus. So here we have d4, Magnus now ready to grab the full center with e4, bishop to d7, now comes e4. Now having control of all of these squares, we have f6, Artemiev wants to play e5 to create some weaknesses, as this is simply too much control, f4 by Magnus, and now e5. Asking what do you do here, so Magnus trades once and advances the pawn to d5. So while this does give Magnus the pass to d pawn, it also creates some weaknesses here. This is now a weakness, but black is also has his fair share of weaknesses. So here we have a5. It's an interesting push, because the queen of course guards the b6 pawn, and you want to put your pawns on dark squares, as Magnus has a light square bishop. The problem is black queen will have to keep an eye on both of these pawns at all times, but okay, luckily for Artemiev, you don't really have anywhere else to be, so that's the d6 square is perfectly fine. So king h2 by Magnus, we have b5 now, starting to push, maybe Artemiev even considering creating a pass pawn of his own. So bishop to h3, offering a trade of bishops and going into a queen endgame, and Artemiev accepts this. Bishop captures, queen captures, and now Artemiev pushes b4 with ideas of a4 and a3, and maybe later on b3 if the position allows it. So queen c2 by Magnus, stopping this idea, also getting ready to deliver some checks to the black king. Now comes queen d7 check, king to g2, and king to f7. We have queen to f2 with check, king back to g7. Now comes queen to c5, getting the queen to a bit of a more active square. And now Artemiev is in a very difficult spot. There's only one good move for him. He has to play queen to a4, put pressure on the a2 pawn, and this is how he hopes to achieve a draw. Or maybe if Magnus doesn't play optimally, he maybe even win the game. However, he played queen to g4, and it makes sense. Okay, you're attacking the pawn, you're threatening some checks here. The problem is the game is now lost for him. But you have to find the absolute exact variation that allows this, and it's well, it's not all that easy to spot. So feel free to pause the video and try to find it for white while I give you a couple of seconds. Not just the main move, but also the entire line. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on always being excellent at everything. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to e7 with check. That's the good stuff. And now whatever black plays, it's game over. If king h8, this is checkmate. If king g8, we don't care. We just deliver one check. And after king g7, we pick up the e5 pawn with check. And now we pretty much don't care what we play because we have two connected pass pawns in the center. So the only thing left for Artemiev to do is king to h6, and now comes the main line. Queen to f8 check, king to h5, and now of course queen to f3, making sure that our d pawn can now just run to victory, and there's nothing black can do about it. So Artemiev also has a way of countering this. He will create a pass pawn of his own on the queen side, but d6. We have b3. And now Magnus just finds the absolute nicest win possible. He plays queen captures on g4, king captures on g4, and only now d7. This is very important because after this pawn becomes a queen, queen g5 will be checkmate, so it doesn't matter that Artemiev will also have a queen. So b captures on a2, Magnus played d8 queen, and it was in this position on move 42 that Vladislav Artemiev resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Once black makes a move, and of course any move other than promoting to a queen is pretty much pointless, queen g5 will be checkmate. So yeah, great stuff by both of them. Artemiev held his own for most of the game, but then at that moment where he really had to make that choice of going queen to a4, he didn't find it. He played queen to g4, and it was more than enough for Magnus to win this game. So yeah, that's it. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Really a nice one. And as a lot of you guys are interested in this, here are the CO2 standings, as the tournament is sponsored by AirThings. It's well, a device that improves your quality of living, and here you can see that these are the CO2 standings after round one. So you can see that Magnus has the absolute best air quality. Not saying that that's the only reason why he was so good, but also very nice to know, as it's quite a lot better than most of the other players. And I've also received one of these devices, and I've been monitoring my air for the last 10 days, and well, it does seem like up until now I was living in a toxic environment. So if you guys are interested in what they do, or you know why AirThings are even sponsoring the event, questions like that, feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I will answer them. Maybe in the next video, maybe tomorrow at the end of some of the videos. So you just use hashtag AirThings, and I will try to answer all of your questions if you guys are interested in that. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Odalt, Lucifer 45, a non-commercial EP, Dale Cook, Anwar the 95% American Flag Numa, and David Kimura for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this spectacular event until it finishes. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.